Hey guys, it's Omer from MMOs.com, and I'm doing a quick third and final look video for Final Fantasy XIV, a subscription-based MMORPG developed and published by Square Enix. I'll spend about 10 to 15 minutes running around, checking this game out, make comments. If you guys do want to play Final Fantasy XIV or learn more about it, do check out the whole review on MMOs.com on the link below. Let's go and get started right now. I just jumped into a trial roulette on my Astrologian, my level 67 Astrologian. I've been playing this game for over a year now, well over a year actually, and it's a game I enjoy quite a bit. It's actually my main MMORPG for over a year now. I've reached the end game in Final Fantasy XIV. I've completed all the Savage Raid content beyond Ultimate Savage, which is the hardest tier content in the game that very few people have cleared. But I've cleared almost everything in the game, and I've enjoyed the game thoroughly. And it is definitely one of my favorite modern MMORPGs, and I intend on keep playing it. And I figured it'd be a good time to do a third and final look video for this, so we can talk a bit more about the end game, talk more about what I like about the game, what I dislike about Final Fantasy XIV. And I do want to start off by saying I do enjoy the game a lot. I wouldn't have played it for over a year if I didn't. And it's a game I definitely recommend other people to at least try. I mean, it's free to play until level 35 as well, which makes it super awesome. But let's go through the pros and cons real quick. We're doing this while we're fighting good old Nidhogg, of course, which is one of the final, towards the end of Heaven's Word, the first expansion of the game. Right away, the boss fights are really cool, actually. Really cool, well-designed boss fights, I would say, in terms of like aesthetics. Overall, actually, the aesthetics in Final Fantasy XIV overall, I think, are phenomenal. Boss fights look really cool. Everything is choreographed really well. The music is excellent. It's a Final Fantasy game. Of course the music will be excellent. No surprise there. Let's go heal ourselves before we actually die. And the production value is phenomenal in terms of like, they do a lot of little things correctly, and the polish is through the roof in Final Fantasy XIV. Honestly, that's what I really like the most about this game is the polish. And when I'm talking about polish, I'm referring to animations, I'm referring to music, I'm referring to graphics, I'm referring to just attention to the detail by the developers. Stuff like, if you actually click on a player and they're moving, your eye tracking will be near perfect. The animations on the emotes, the sheer quantity of emotes, it just does it really well. There's a built-in card game. There's so many little things in Final Fantasy XIV that are just done phenomenally, in my opinion, to help it really stand apart from other MMORPGs. Because, I mean, in its core, I don't think Final Fantasy XIV is an innovative MMORPG. In fact, it's not innovative at all. It doesn't really have anything really super unique about it. Perhaps the job system, because you can play all character jobs, all character classes on one character. So I'm playing as my Astrologer right now, which is only level 67. My main character is level 70, max level, but that's all on one character. I can switch at any time I want by changing my weapon, which is kind of cool. Oh man. Whoosh! Champions of Man. Hearken to my fury. Again, these boss fights are epic. And I do, on the negative side though, I do want to criticize the combat a little bit. It does feel a bit slow. That's one of the biggest complaints about this game from anyone first trying it out. You do get used to it though, but it does feel really awkward and slow at the beginning. And the reason for that is, one of the main reasons is the way the global cooldowns work. But beyond that, at the beginning, you have very little to actually do. You create a new character, you have like one button to spam, and that's it. It's not until you get close to max level that you actually start getting tons of different abilities. So everyone's basically topped up anyway right now. So I'm playing a healer. I'm not doing my rotations properly at all because I'm just basically talking while doing this as well. But this is a trial roulette, meaning we get a random dungeon. And we get tons of experience once a day for doing this. It's basically your dailies. Let's drop this bad boy as well. AoE heal. Drop our region on this guy as well. And honestly, the cool thing about these dailies is even though they're really easy, they still kind of train you for the more difficult content in the game. You learn how mechanics work and whatnot. And you want to stay away from the glowing ground. That's basically the gist of it. Somebody got hit by it. We can look at this guy. Kenshi asked and got hit by the obvious metric, but again, it doesn't matter. Other things I kind of dislike about this, the combat, again, it starts off really bad, but it does pick up a little bit. So it gets a little better later on, but it's still a bit slow, and it's not the game's strongest point, definitely. Another bit about the game that is a little bit weak, I would say, is the fact that every class is basically the same. So if you see one black mage and another black mage, the only difference between them will always be their gear, that's it. There's no like way to customize your... Yo, bro, let me get out of your AoE, fam. There's no way to customize your talents, your skills. Everyone's got access to the same skills, and there's no talents or stat points. So really, the only way to customize yourself is your gear, and even that, there's best in slot, there's stats that are better than other stats. There's actually very minimal ways to customize yourself. So gear is really the only progression or differentiation in the game, which is kind of lame. I would have liked to see some kind of talent system where at least one black mage is not the same as every other black mage, and so forth. The story is very hit or miss. Overall, again, I played through all the story. I read all the dialogue in the game. Some parts of the story I think are remarkably well written and actually really engaging, interesting story with dynamic characters and stuff you actually give a shit about, which is rare in MMORPGs. However, other parts are very Looney Tunes tier, like one-dimensional characters and really bad storytelling, which is unfortunate because well, you can't have in my mind, you can't have a villain in a game or a movie or anything really that's just evil for the sake of being evil. It's very lame, and Final Fantasy XIV does that a bit too much. You got a stack over here. A-okay. These boss fights are really cool though the first time you do these. I remember the music playing is phenomenal as well. Get out of the Akmoran over there. Get see how many people stand in that. Oh no, we're actually supposed to stay in that one. That one actually splits up the damage. I'm thinking of the Akmoran and Shinryu. Another fight which actually threw me off a little bit. We got it this time. This guy should go down pretty easily. Another thing I don't like about Final Fantasy 14 is the difficulty curve. In fact, well, just rather the lack of difficulty. If you're doing the main story missions, you're doing basically normal dungeons the way I'm doing right now, it is very difficult to actually die on these. Very difficult. And I don't mean that like, it's not like brain dead easy where you can turn off your monitor and you're going to complete it, but I've never died doing the leveling roulettes, which throw you in a random dungeon, they sink you to the correct level. I don't think, I've died maybe once doing a main story quest dungeon or a boss fight. It's very difficult to die, and because of that, it kind of makes these encounters feel less epic. Like, this fight looks beautiful. It is actually mega cool music in the background, really cool animations, but because it's so easy, it kind of takes away from the coolness of the fight itself. At least in my opinion. Alright, we're going to zap this guy. This guy's going down 1%. Easy kill, boys. And I'll switch to my other character in a second, and we did it. We commend somebody at the end. I'll give it to the other healer. Why not? And we're done with that run. And for doing that, we got bonus XP and whatnot. And the reason I did this too is I actually want to level up my Astrologian, who's only level 67 or 68 right now. I do want to get them level 70. And I did do my mechanics very well over there, but it didn't matter. We can switch back to my my Black Mage, who's my main character. I'm actually almost best in slot, except my weapon and my gloves. Everything else is best in slot. So I'm very close to reaching max status on my character. Just need a better weapon, and I need to get my... I've completed the dungeon that gives me my level 345 weapon, but I didn't win the roll on the weapon, unfortunately. So for that reason, I can slash cry. But so much of this game I love. There's a lot to love about this game, and it's because it really captures what makes MMORPGs great, I think. Because even though the combat isn't perfect, there's a lot of complaints there. Stuff like crafting, stuff like player housing is all done really, really well. So let's go teleport for a second and show you my house again real quick in the game. My guild house, rather. And because everything else is done so well, I think it carries the rest of the game. Stuff like eye tracking, stuff like... There are so many mounts in this game. There are so many pets you can have. There are so many things you can collect. So many different glamours you can get. So many different outfits you can get. You can really make your character look completely beautiful and different and distinct. I'll show you one mount, for example. I got the Alti Roiti mount, which is actually the Omega 1 mount. This is actually a really cool mount, too. It actually looks really cool when you're riding this. There's flying zones as well, but this is not a flying zone. But flying on this bad boy looks really cool. And this mount looks a lot different than, for example, this mount over here. There are so many mounts in this game. I'm running a doggo right now on this one. And every mount you ride actually has different music as well, which is kind of neat. And one of my friends are AFK over there. We got another friend that's AFK over here. Everyone's just chilling AFK near the guild house right now. And again, you can customize these. Everyone can customize their houses however they want. So the housing system in this game is also quite nice. Let's spam some cute emotes at him. And of course, there's a lot of dance emotes as well. Honestly, every MMO needs to have a slash dance, in my opinion. Look how cute my slash dance is. First, look how cute my character is. Let's actually get a panty shot right there as well of this character. Hell yeah. But my character's adorable. I love my character in this game. And as any good game should know, there's actually more than one dance emote. There's actually tons of unlockable dance emotes as well. I don't have nearly that many. If you go to emotes, you see my persistent ones. I have the ball dance, the harvest dance, and the gold dance, and the default dance, and that's it. But there are tons of other amazing dances you can unlock. So there's tons of mounts you can unlock. There's tons of pets you can collect. Minions, they're called. Tons of mounts, pets, minions, emotes. There's a lot to do in Final Fantasy XIV, and all that stuff comes together, I think, really well. It's definitely one of the best MMORPGs out there, in my opinion. The early game is very slow, unfortunately, and I didn't have too much fun with it until I got to the end game. And that's always an unfortunate thing, because I hate telling somebody it gets fun at the end game, which it does. But even the producer of the game acknowledged that the early game kind of sucks. Yoshi P, the producer behind the game, that's one of the game's biggest problems. But I think it's a problem that kind of has an issue with the entire MMORPG genre. Is the early game tends to be pretty boring, and only when you get invested in your character in the game does it get really fun. We can do a slash dance here if you want to in the water, in the shower. Again, each of these houses are customizable, so from one house to the next is very different. So you can collect, there's so many things to collect, so many house decorations to collect as well. And again, look, I was talking about the little details. You actually slash sit on these items, for example, and your character will sit down. And there's actually multiple positions to sit down as well. Like if I slash sit on the ground, for example, just an example of attention to detail. Let's zoom in on my character real quick. Let's move my hot bars away so we can see my cuteness in better light. Move these away. You go back to the emotes menu. Again, this just shows the attention to detail in this game. You go to change pose. There are 3 different ways to sit down with your character. You can sit down like that. You can sit down like this. And just many different ways to sit down. It's really cool, actually. Even when you're laying down in bed, you sleep like on a bed, you put down slash like. You can just sit down in multiple different ways, lay down in multiple different ways, and it just there's so much attention to detail by Square Enix that makes this game, I think, phenomenal. We can sit on this bar stool as well. We can face this way or the other way, and my character actually kicks their legs while they sit down, which is pretty cute. But again, the Final Fantasy XIV is a game I've been enjoying quite a bit. I recommend it to anyone who's looking for a new MMORPG to play, and the free to play up to level 35 is really nice as well. You'll see if it's up your alley or not. The early game, if you can grind through it, I think you'll have a lot of fun late game. But I think it does a lot really well. It does a lot really well. If you like what you see, definitely give it a try. Again, I just kind of wish there was different ways to customize characters, and I wish there was the content was a bit more difficult early on because it's a little bit too easy, and that kind of makes the epic story. It's trying to tell an epic story about you beating these very difficult enemies and you defeating gods and stuff. But when the gods die on your first try and it becomes like face roll easy, it just seems a little silly. There's even fun items in the game like these crackers. You just they're consumable. They're very cheap to buy. You can buy them in the game as a you can buy from other players too. They're super cheap. But there's a lot of little things in the game that are phenomenal. You can get like a sparkler as well, and it does the whole living world ambiance immersiveness really well, and that's one of my main reasons for loving this game. But yeah, I would give it a I don't know 9 out of 10. It's not my favorite MMORPG. My favorite MMORPG is going to be Ultima Online in my heart for a long time, but I think it's up there with WoW. There's a reason it's the second most subscribed MMORPG, but though it's worth mentioning a very distant second, WoW is by far the most subscribed MMORPG. But if you like what you see, give it a try. I'm a big fan. I'll probably be playing for hopefully the years to come. Though I'm waiting for new content to tackle, though I do have to eventually try beating that ultimate coil stuff, which should be pretty fun. I'll do the last few cute emotes, and then /wave goodbye. Big thumbs up for Final Fantasy XIV in my eyes. Later, guys.